The main problems between Emery and the seed companies was when he started lying about what happened in the busts. Mark would tell them that the seeds were all taken by police, but that wasn't true. Okay, now this is some sort of confusing nonsense that's come up in this article about Mark lying about the seeds being taken, and I don't get that. This makes no sense. We certainly didn't do that. If we had seeds, we had seeds. Some seeds were stored off premises and were not taken by the police. So what? What difference does that make? We did not, even if you were to tell the breeder that all the seeds were taken, so what? There was nobody sacrificing their money because we said the seeds got taken. It wasn't their, it was our responsibility completely to pay these people, and we did. So, I don't know, it just is getting a little confusing here in this thing about what they're... Most of the seeds were stored safely off premises. Some batches of supposedly seized seeds even turned up with disgruntled ex-employees of Mark, trying to ignorantly sell them back their own seeds that were never paid for. I don't remember this story about a disgruntled ex-employee. I got a feeling it was a tad before I started, but that was 14 years ago when I started here, and these people are dredging up this nonsense about some hearsay thing that might have happened a long time ago. No, there's pirates around. The whole thing's dealt in the black market. All of it's about the black market. It's not real in terms of business and how you do business out there. Most of the people that we actually did business with over the years, I don't think they'd survive in a real industry because they're just not, you know, the question of our honesty has always come up here. Now, I don't get it. Why is our honesty the only avenue that needs to be examined here? How was I to know that the seeds that Vancouver Island Seed Company or Spice of Life gave me were actually the seeds they said they were? There was no way to tell. They all looked the same. I didn't know. They came lots of times with seeds, batches that didn't germinate. Public never heard about that because we would get reports from our customers and find out they weren't germinating, and then we'd do our own tests and we'd say, no, you can't. They'd come in with sub-quality seeds. They needed money just as bad as anybody else. And this was an easy way to make money. You could make tens of thousands of seeds at a time and just come in and say they're whatever you wanted to. So we had to trust that that was the case. Not only that, we also had to trust the people in Holland. Like, why are they so above reproach? I had a prominent seed vendor in Holland tell me one time that any strain can be anything when you need it to be that. They're not being honest. And if you look at every Dutch company beyond the original ones, like Cincy Seed Bank, you look at Dutch Passion's catalog and it's all Cincy strains that they grew and changed the name. Now everybody winces about the knockoffs in this business. Well, you're all knocking everything off. Everything. You didn't create Colombian, you didn't create Mexican, you didn't create Thai, and you didn't create Hindu Kush. So you're knocking all those off to start with, let alone the breeding that went on back in the 70s that created things like Northern Lights and Skunk and Haze. You're all knocking those off. You're calling it Cindy 99, you're calling it OG Kush, you're calling it whatever you want. So, but whenever a seed didn't germinate or didn't turn out exactly the way a customer wanted it, it was our fault. It wasn't Dutch Passion, it wasn't Spice of Life's fault. And we replaced the seeds. We did not ask those seed breeders to replace the seeds ever. We replaced the seeds, no questions asked. Didn't work out for you, here's more. Simple as that. So our integrity, our honesty to be questioned about this stuff by some person several years later, who now themselves has a magazine and is wanting to sell seeds through that magazine. The very same seed companies that we represented in our catalog. Huh. There was a period when things improved in the Emery Seed empire. This was when Michelle Rainey took over the day-to-day dealings with the seeds breeders. She brought a stability and integrity back to the Emery Seed machine. Well, this unfortunate paragraph is that's straight ahead business, folks. Now, come on, Michelle Rainey was working at that magazine at the time that this was written. So I find it a little distasteful to be vaulting this woman over above Mark and my stability and integrity when we had been doing this for many, many years before she came to the fold. She actually did a very good job at organizing the business of the seed business, but she did not bring the integrity and stability back to it. The stability actually came from Mark because he had the balls to keep doing this. He didn't go away when we got busted. Now, if he had of, these seed breeders would have gone off in a puff of smoke. You would have never heard from these people again because they weren't going to do it. They snuck around behind us in our shadows, hiding, all hiding, worried to even come to our store sometimes. You go, give me a fucking break. We're sitting there at a desk with a sign selling their product, and they're afraid to come in there. So the stability came from us coming back, coming back, coming back. It wouldn't be there. The seed business couldn't have been there when Michelle started working with us if we hadn't kept doing that. Come on, we all went to jail. Now, to say that the integrity came back, now come on, she didn't know anything about marijuana. The integrity came from me. I cared about pot, really cared about it. We smoked it and cared, and Mark sent me around the world, all in Amsterdam, all over Australia and different parts of the world to try stuff out. Go there and smoke the weed. Go and see what's new. And so we really did care about this stuff. When Hank from Dutch Passion hands me a joint of Mazari Sharif, when it first was introduced by him, that was a big deal. And I knew then that when I sold those seeds to that guy that it was going to be like this. Now, I ran the phones at this business for 5 years. I talked to 1 million people, oh my God. Billions of calls I got from around the world. So I knew what was going on, and I knew that these people were satisfied by and large. The biggest problems that anyone ever had with our product, or your product, was that they didn't know what they were doing. So they would screw it all up and have very poor results and, of course, blame us. But at any rate, they didn't always blame us, but we would replace those seeds without question because it was more important to us that they be growing good weed. That was the whole point of the seed business. Get the genetics out there. It wasn't just to make money. We didn't have to do anything to make money. It poured in, let me tell you. Now, Mark currently sits in a U.S. prison doing 5 years for being more active than all cannabis activists combined. He sold the High Times magazine here, door to door, so that people would have the right to read this magazine. Now, High Times has done nothing but slag him since then. The medicinal marijuana community couldn't run away from us fast enough. They wanted all our genetics, they wanted all of our expertise, and they wanted prohibition prices. They didn't want to be part of us because we were too active. Now, all the people that we funded over the years have turned their backs on us now. They won't even admit, many of them, that they got money from us. Now, I don't know. We were too active, but after they only got what they wanted, right? Just another day in pot continuing to be illegal. Now, myself, I faced life in prison, 40 years in prison for 4 years while we were battling that in court. Got convicted. But for sending seeds to every place that's now overgrowing the government. We sent all seeds to every city and town in California, every city and town in Colorado, Florida, Washington State. Now they all want to legalize it. And they don't think about a guy like Mark sitting in prison. Ooh, he was too political. Now, we've helped overgrow the government. I've done over 60 of these grow shows. Since 2000, we've been doing this stuff. Teaching everybody how to grow pot, everything that they need to know about pot. I've been a judge all over the world at competitions. Had a microscope on my desk for years before most people even knew what a trichome was. But you know, I don't sell t-shirts or hats. I don't have a Marijuana Man club on the internet. I'm not making any money off of it beyond the wages that I'm paid here. And you know why? Because pot's still illegal. Now, I find it somewhat distasteful that all of these people out there in the world now are jockeying for position like this product was legal. Still, millions of our brothers and sisters are being put in jail for it. I don't care about that. As long as I can make some money here off marijuana. We've got people who don't know anything about marijuana, don't smoke marijuana, don't care about marijuana, coming to the marijuana industry now. And it's illegal. It's not legal anywhere. Now, can Jorge Cervantes come up with another tired grow book? Can Jason King clone another one of his picture books while we all sit here drooling about the next kush coming down the pipe? This is nonsense, folks. Put your energies into legalizing this stuff. So when marijuana does become legalized, seed vendors are going to go off in a puff of smoke. We're not going to need magazines dedicated to treating yourself, because we will be just simply treating ourselves. This is just a smokescreen backlash reaction to prohibition, another way to get the word out from underneath prohibition. Now, maybe someday you'll come to my place and we'll enjoy a pure haze, maybe growing on my farm in Angola, because I think that's where it's going to be at. But in the meantime, I think a lot of you people who might have been around and part of this nonsense should all write letters to Mark apologizing for your bullshit and bad manners and thank him for giving you the opportunity to do what you do. You could not sell seeds, you could not sell a magazine without him. Now you should reckon with that. And when you finish writing Mark that letter, pick up a phone Jody Emery, and ask her what you can do to help. You know, it'd be good for your ego. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Marijuana Man. Peace and pot.